He was one of my favorite characters in or maybe my favorite character in Justice League, which was the Martian.
Oh, well, that's Justice League.
Love the Martian. Huh?
That's Justice League. That's DC.
There wasn't a crossover?
No.
Oh, I'm mixing. I could have sworn there. Wasn't Wolverine in Justice League?
Absolutely not.
He wasn't.
I'm about to stop this total podcast.
I thought I was mixing them. I thought they were together. Not MCU and...
We just lost all credibility to this podcast. I want you to know people are rage quitting right now.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Born2BNerd Podcast. Have we ever done our names? I'm Lance.
I'm Ethan.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever done that. Just in case you've never heard before.
We have now.
Yeah.
I want to say, yeah. I'm pretty sure we have.
Nah, I don't think. I think we've always recorded with the assumption that
you guys know who we are, right?
Yeah.
Like,
we've said each other's names.
This.
Yeah, we've said each other's names, but
I don't know. Do we say each other's names?
I don't know if we do.
I don't think we do.
Well, yeah. This is Born2BNerd Podcast. If you're new, we talk about all things nerd, whether it be movies, anime, video games, trading cards, comics, even some stuff that aren't the stereotypical nerd things like cars and
motocicleta,
crafting and cosplay, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, what's on the itinerary for today, Ethan? Just the itinerary. Don't get into detail.
I'm not gonna go into it. I'm not. So today, we have a couple of things that are a little like off of what actually the last couple we've been talking about movies, so it's not really that off brand for the last couple episodes, I guess. This is a little late, but we both saw Deadpool, and I think we would be remiss not to talk about the significance of Deadpool of just how great of a film it was. Curious to hear your thoughts on it, as well as what it means for the MCU going forward.
Correct.
And the course correction / revamping of the new phase that they're wanting to do. Mm-hmm. What all that means. I went to go see another movie when I got back from Cleveland. I was kind of forced into it begrudgingly, and I'm really glad that I went to go see it because I don't usually do horror movies at all. I'm a scaredy cat. I don't like it. But we went to go see the movie Longlegs, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about that movie and what it how it kind of opened your mind a little bit, or how it opened my mind to try to experience a new genre of film that I usually don't.
Okay.
And also I recently watched a film called Wicked City, which is a anime film back in 87, 89, back in the OVA era, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like we have a couple of shotgun points. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You want to talk about that?
You want to explain it some more?
I'm not going to explain it anymore. Shut up. That's the itinerary.
Yeah. Kind of some shotgun points today. I kind of want to go over a couple things. One is My Hero Academia manga just completed, and there's some notes on that. And also there has been news. I'm sure you are aware that there is a One Piece remake.
I saw that. Yeah.
And so there's some things that I kind of want to go to into discussion about that as well.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Well, so strap in.
Yeah. Sit back. Enjoy the podcast. Here we go. Okay. It's never. Me doing that is never on time when you do it in editing.
You doing the Dana thing?
Mm-hmm. I always think I know where it's going to go, and then ends up being somewhere else.
Well, because it's off time, and it's off the actual time of the song, so it doesn't. That's hard to map out, bud.
All right,
you
so
want to start with my hero? You want to start with my hero?
No, because
No. Okay.
it's not as much of a positive start.
Oh,
So
okay. All
I
right.
say we start with
Deadpool?
Deadpool. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think that's going to be probably the longest of the conversations we have.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters,
Mm-hmm.
and you saw it. Did you see it in theaters too?
Yeah. I don't think
Okay.
it's out yet. At the
Okay.
time of recording this, I think
Yeah.
it's still in theaters.
Yeah, but I saw it like opening weekend.
Yeah. I did not.
Yeah.
I saw it a couple weeks later because, as you know, seeing movies in
movies
Atlanta
for you.
opening weekend are not a pleasant experience.
Right. How was your theater experience?
Dude, it was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. There was enough people in there. I went to go on like a Sunday at like 11 o'clock, the first, showing they had in the morning. And there was like maybe 18, 20 people in there, like not a lot.
Wow.
So it was nice.
Yeah.
Everyone was cordial, but there was enough people where like laughs when people were laughing, like the laughing was still contagious, like how you want it to be in a comedy.
Exactly.
But there wasn't that typical ATL experience of going to a movie theater where people are being rowdy. So
yeah,
it's good.
I saw it in IMAX with some reclined seats. It was
nice.
I was by myself, just like in my own little space.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Did Zach go with you? I thought
Zach no, we went with a group of 5, but we sat in the middle where there's like there's like groups of 2 chairs. So he sat with my sister Anna. They got all the way at the other end of the theater. And then the 2 friends we brought, they sat in the middle with 2 chairs. This is like almost like a maybe 8 to 10 foot gap between us, maybe even more than that. It's pretty big gap. And then me and the chair beside me, which was empty. So I was just kind of like off on my own with some popcorn and some soda. Nice. But the theater was full. It was a full theater, and it was a good crowd. It was fun. There were some, people trying to like there was this one guy that was trying to become a staple of the theater's like crowd energy, So like he was the one that kind of like trying to lead the claps and lead the laughs and like, I was like, dude, just enjoy the movie. He's like,
go home.
Almost as if someone was like, he thought someone was recording, like going to be recording the audience reactions, and he wanted to like make sure that he gives a good show, Yeah. But then there was a little bit of drama with some Karen and a man whose seat she took. right when the movie
did you go to Mayfair?
Yeah.
I knew it. As soon as you said that, I was like, you went to Mayfair, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Mayfair moms.
It was absurd. She clearly took the guy's chair, and he was like, hey, like you're in my seat. And then she just lost it. And then he was like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this. So he came and sat at the chair that was kind of like beside me, a few chairs down.
Yeah.
And she like stared at him for like 3 minutes to try to prove a point as if she was in the right. I was like, what is wrong with you?
Bitch, what does your ticket say?
Anyways.
Come on.
So the first thing I want to talk about is that perfect, maybe one of my favorite opening sequences of any film.
Yeah. I didn't think, I should have.
Spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen the movie.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get that.
We're going to talk about some details because the details are what made this movie.
Totally. So many deep cuts on so many levels.
We're going to talk Easter eggs. We're going to talk cameos. Mm-hmm. And so if you do not want to be spoiled, just skip ahead. We'll have like, do you ever do timestamps? Unlike in like comments or anything?
No, but I can.
Yeah, do a timestamp for this one because it's relatively new. So just in case.
Okay.
So there'll be a timestamp for when we move on.
Insert timestamp now. Okay. Full spoiler warning.
Yeah.
Let's proceed.
So the opening sequence is, you were going to say, I think something, but the opening sequence of him.
Yes. So the opening, I don't know why I didn't expect it. I didn't think it was going to be that good of a, I didn't think it was going to be that good straight off the go.
Yeah.
Like it's been 6 years? When did the last one come out? 2018?
Yeah,
It's just been like so long,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of forgot, and I hadn't watched the older ones, the first 2, since they came out. So I didn't really remember how they started. So
yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't obsessed with the first two. I liked them.
I loved the first one. I saw the first one like 3 times in theaters.
Really? I liked it, and I enjoyed the second one. The second one was okay, but like neither one of them grabbed me like this one did. This one actually made me a Deadpool fan.
Yeah.
So
I just didn't expect them to go that heavy into the Logan thing that fast.
Yeah.
And but I think you had to.
Yeah.
Like in order to I mean that whole sequence set the plot forward for the rest of the movie. Mm-hmm. Like immediately he's trying to get Logan back and he's like, "Oh, are you fucking idiot? Like let's see if how decomposed you are, because every like healing factors and all that."
Yeah.
And like immediately it cuts to it. It's the adamantium skeleton.
Yeah. I think it's honestly like it was so brilliant because he called himself out. He was like, "Look, we talked about how we weren't going to disrespect the legacy of Logan and bring him back." And then next thing you know, he's like, and he's like digging up the grave, and you're like, "Oh my God, here they go." And then it's like, nope, he's dead.
Dude, the cut to him sitting with his back against the log and the skeleton right beside of it was so fucking good, man.
And then the preceding fight scene with the credits and the music, like
Death by Day player. God,
like I honestly I can't picture, especially in the superhero movie like saga that we've gotten over the past 20 years.
Yeah,
I can't picture a better like opening sequence. It was just mind blowing. It
was perfect.
Whenever he put those adamantium claw gauntlets on, oh my God, dude.
What does he do? He like puts the fucking claws on. He's like, "I've always wanted to do this."
Yeah, and then
he like puts one in a dude's ass, and the other one's going like in his dick or something.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard.
It was perfect. Like that intro was fucking perfect. Like it was meta as shit too. Like when they all come out and he's like, "Wait a minute, who are you?" He's like, "I be goddamn Death by Day player," and it's like, oh my God. Ugh. Yeah. It was great. And then, I mean, everything from that to the soundtrack was so good.
The soundtrack was phenomenal.
I think the soundtrack was even better in this one than it was in the first one.
Yeah. I would buy that soundtrack.
Yeah. I think it's like a Guardians type soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as relevance and like it feeling like it's its own character of the film.
Yeah.
It was fucking sick. And like again, the way that they used it in these like super serious scenes sometimes, with the Madonna coming in and the last fight sequence of all the Deadpools and everything. It was like, God, it was so good.
Well, I mean, that song alone is taking the internet by storm ever since it came out. It's like
it was stuck in my head for the entire week, dude.
Yeah.
The entire next week at work, I was just in the midnight hour. And then like I would finally get it out because I had to listen to it like 3 or 4 times in a row to get it out of my head. Mm-hmm. But I had been singing it like for the past 3 days. And so it was done. It was out. And then like a day and a half later, this other girl that I work with comes by and she's singing it. And she's like, "Ethan, you're a son of a bitch. Like this song has been in my head for the past day and a half." And I'm like, now it's back in my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Jackman, I loved all the fucking little pot shots that he's always taking. It's like, "You're going to be playing this role till you're 90. And then like throughout the thing, he's like, "Till you're fucking 90. All the little, their chemistry's crazy. Like
it's
it really
so
is.
Good. Yeah. And I'll say like, I have loved Logan, or I have loved Hugh Jackman's Logan throughout all of the films. Mm-hmm. But this version, the version that actually works with Deadpool throughout this film, that was my favorite one. And I think that was his best version, like his best acting of Logan, apart from like Logan in general. But like this was his, honestly, I love this version. This so like hate, like angry, like so hurt, like this painful one, like
dude,
like,
the scene in the van where he
goes off on him.
Fuck, man.
I don't know if people will like really see the like noticed that specific like acting scene, but that was very reminiscent of Hugh Jackman's scene in Prisoners.
Yeah. I still haven't seen Prisoners, but you talked about it a lot. Yeah, I know. I don't even know where I can watch it right now. That's the problem.
My God, dude, So good. Well, there's a scene in the trailer from that moment where he's in the van talking to what's that guy's name?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, and it's very like the feeling is the same. Where like the drive, like in that film, you know, he's angry
They're trying to find his daughter, right?
Yeah, and he's just angry at the guy for like coming at him rather than like trying to solve the mystery because he's acting suspicious or whatever. That I'm not going to get into that, but regardless, like it's the same thing where like he's so angry at Deadpool for like getting in his way and like leading him in this like wild goose chase.
Yeah, he's just trying to live in his sorrow. And just drown it out.
Yeah, and like it's the emotion that he put into that scene. I mean, I feel like he deserved an Oscar for that. That was just so good.
I mean, it was across the board. Like the scene when he first goes to find like that Logan and he finds him in the bar, dude, when he's like, watch this. And he like takes the gun and puts it in his fucking head.
Yeah.
The look on his face.
Yeah.
Dude, I was convincing. Like, oh God, yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't get how you have that. Like, he has like the willingness to die as well as just the I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But also there's a hint of like comedy in it.
Yeah.
And it's like how? Like, how do you get all that into that one shot? That's insane.
He's just like, he's so over it that he almost finds his misery laughable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so good. He did a phenomenal job. I think Ryan Reynolds' delivery of his jokes and his lines were better in this film than his other two. I feel like it felt more natural and more like fitting to the moment at hand, you know, rather than like, especially the second one.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Yes. The second one, it felt like they were like written for him.
Yeah.
But this one felt like they were coming from his character. And that was like really well done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think Ryan Reynolds, I mean, if you talk, there's some like roles that you know, some people have in their careers. Like you look at like Harrison Ford and like Han Solo, or maybe more importantly, Harrison Ford is Indy. Like Harrison was like born to play Indiana Jones, right? You look at Hugh Jackman, like Hugh Jackman was born to play Wolverine. I think that Ryan Reynolds was fucking born to play Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know any other actor off the top of my head that can bring the physicality. I just really like T. They can bring I don't know any other actor that can bring the physicality, the emotional depth when he needs to, as well as the constant, I mean, just banger jokes that land with like comedic level timing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think it also, I think the reason like he fits into that role so well is because he's basically, if I've watched like a lot of videos on it, he's basically been playing that kind of character for decades.
So long. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just heightened. Like it's so heightened.
For sure. I just mean like it's so natural for him. Like it's almost like he's been training for it his whole life, you know? Like, which is awesome. Like it shows, it just like made that connection and made that like him kind of melt into that character so easy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also, that Deadpool, I know for the first one, it was like it was his passion project to try to get that made. And when like the test footage got air quotes leaked,
right? That
he leaked, you know, because I think I heard a story that like Fox initially said that like no, they weren't going to do it, and he leaked it. Yeah, like his production team leaked it anyway, and that's what got everything going. Even though like he was kind of already told no. I mean, that's just fucking rad. Yeah, you know, it's just a sick story. Yeah, that somebody had that much passion for a project that they did all that. You know? Right.
Do you feel like? How do you feel about the Deadpool Wolverine plot? Especially in the like with the idea that people assume that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was done.
Is done. Yeah. And I think he was like I think that it was literally like the perfect scenario because I've seen a lot of interviews with Hugh Jackman over the years about how he's like, nah, man, like there's no way that I can play a better Wolverine than in Logan.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember when Logan came out, dude. And so Wolverine's been like my guy, like he is the X-Men of our generation, like to know, like he is the X-Men, right?
Yeah.
But he was my X-Man because that's like a 13-year-old going through puberty who's like 5'4" and really fucking hairy.
Yeah.
He was my guy, dude.
Yeah.
Like I have a comic book with me right here that I've had since I was like 10.
Yeah.
It was this inside of it, you open it up and it's this calendar of all the X-Men sitting at a pool having like a pool party day. And they're all by the pool. They're all in bathing suits. And Wolverine is in like these cut off jean shorts. And he's the only one that's got hair all over his shoulders and like hair all over his legs. And I remember being as like a young kid being like, oh, like it's okay to be short and hairy. Like Wolverine's short and hairy. So from that, like he's always been my guy, right? Mm-hmm. So when Logan came out and I heard that he was going to do this like swan song of a farewell for his character, I didn't it hit me so hard, like from that first trailer of like the Johnny Cash Hurt. Do you remember that trailer where the Johnny Cash song? Well, it's the 9 Inch Nails song, but Johnny Cash
the Logan
today.
It's been a long time, but yeah.
Oh God, I'll send it to you. You should watch it. I remember sitting in my job at the hospital in the cafeteria with my friend Kelly Dempsey, and we're sitting and that it came up on YouTube. That it came out, and I was like, oh shit, let's watch it. And I'm sitting there with her, and in the cafeteria at our job, I'm just like bawling, like crying, dude, at this freaking trailer. So it's so fucking good. I didn't want him to come back. I'll be honest. Like that for me, the ending of Logan was so perfect with the falling of the cross, making the X, the self-sacrifice, all of it. It was perfect. So I didn't really need him to come back for this. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he did, and that in a time when the MCU is like in such divisiveness, and I think that they lost a lot of fans after the Endgame saga. Mm-hmm. Because they're trying to push this very strict agenda of like what they're doing, what Disney is doing. All the meanwhile, they're just kind of doing the same formulaic stuff over and over and over for the past like 2.5, 3 years, like if we're being honest. And I think they needed something like Deadpool to be as completely different as it was. To progress the MCU forward. Mm-hmm. As far as the actual plot of the movie, it's not a crazy plot. Yeah. It's a really simple plot, actually. And I think that's the point, is like you have this movie that's on paper a very simple movie that could mean something like that's a beautiful love letter to the whole Fox generation of Marvel, mm-hmm. but it's also setting up, I think, the whole point of the movie, other than like the love letter to that. And I think that is the main point. Yeah, I think that was the main point of the film, was to make this beautiful love letter to the Fox generation of Marvel and all those characters and all those stories. But in that also, it's to set up this new branch of the MCU that has to happen. Otherwise, the MCU will die. Dude.
Yeah. I mean, we lost like our big hitters, and now
we lost all the big hitters.
Yeah,
I mean, to the point where they had to, like, now Downey's coming back as Doom, but it's like even that, man, like with the level of writing, with the consistency of.
But a villain's not gonna bring back an industry. Like,
no.
We need good heroes, that's what's going to keep people going to the theaters.
We do need good heroes. And that's what was so special about the first few phases of Marvel, were mm-hmm. those heroes and the people that they had playing them. Yeah. And I think they make fun of it in Deadpool, a lot, where they're talking about like, God, this whole multiverse thing is so fucking played out. you know? And it's true because over the past like 2 years, that's what all of their shit's been about, is this multiverse thing. And it's just contrived at this point. You know, I recently read this book called The MCU. I don't know if I told you about it. It's called Making of a Universe, I think, or something like that, the MCU. And it literally chronicled all the way from the initial start of Marvel Comics with the Avengers characters to this past year in the MCU. And it's insane to hear all the stories about how the movies were made and why certain movies were made and why others weren't, you know. And it listening to I did an audiobook, listening to it, it's like, yeah, they lost their way. They realized that they could keep making a very formulaic, basically the same film over and over, and they were still going to be raking in the money. So from a financial standpoint, which at the end of the day, like, it's a creative industry, but at the end of the day, it's a financial industry.
Right.
That's what every production company has ever been created for, is to make money.
Right.
So they're like, if I'm still making $1 billion on all these movies, why would I change the formula? You know? Yeah. So for something like Deadpool to come out, to be as different as it is, it's ballsy as hell. And it's just rad, man, because I think that it does change the trajectory. I think there is the fact that Deadpool crossed $1 billion so fast, there is no way in hell that Disney can look at that and not listen to the audience.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think, you know what's crazy too? Is that because I'm not saying a lot of things right now that can get me in trouble, I don't think. But because I've worked for Marvel and Disney for so long on a bunch of different shows, I know a lot of stuff about a lot of the productions that were supposed to have happened already and didn't.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the Blade thing. The Blade show was supposed to have happened years ago. They started building sets for the new Blade back when I was on Guardians, dude. That was 2022. Wow. That was in March of 2022. And that show has been delayed and then canceled and then rewritten and then canceled like 3 times so far. And for multiple different reasons. And what's his name? Mahershala Ali? How do you say his name? I think that's how you say it. So that's who's playing Blade now, who's been assigned to play Blade for a long time. Dude, the pop from the audience when Wesley Snipes shows up.
Can we just talk about that moment for a second?
Dude, like every little thing, you know, it was like, oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, when Wesley Snipes showed up, dude, people lost, the 18 to 20 people in our theater lost their fucking minds. Because I didn't know about that.
Me neither.
I had saw a thing of Channing Tatum. Like, I was kind of pissed too. I saw a thing on Instagram of Channing Tatum, like, the week that I went to go see it. And I was like, God fucking damn it. So that's why I was like, I got to go see this movie before I get spoiled on anything else.
Right.
So I didn't know about the Wesley Snipes thing. So when he showed up, dude, the theater went fucking insane.
First of all, it's one of the hardest like surprise intros from a character I've ever seen.
Dude,
the soundtrack, how it
the
dropped. It dropped the minute he walked through the door, and you're just like, oh, he's the guy.
Oh, like, it's the only way you intro Blade. Like, that's the only way you intro the Daywalker.
So good.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing, man.
Yeah.
But so that adds another little like, the plot thickens a little bit because of that. And I know that Disney's they're gonna have to look at that and be like, shit, we've already got this guy. We have an Oscar winner signed to play Blade. He's younger. He's more, you know, physically capable to carry a franchise for the next 10 years. Wesley Snipes has got to be in his 60s. In fact, I know he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
You know, but with the fan reaction as big as it was, there's no way you disregard that and don't include Wesley Snipes in some kind of new Blade film.
Oh, I mean,
series.
Could he do a new Blade film though? You know, like, he has to be really active, and
he does. But if there's anything that Marvel does pretty well now, it's face like they scan and they face map stunt doubles. Like it's
See,
they can totally
Ryan
do
Reynolds has it easy, man.
The Mask, I know.
He has it so easy.
So easy. Get somebody with like identical shoulder structure, because Ryan Reynolds has to I will say, I have no idea how that dude has. That's just genetic. Like that dude's shoulders are so good. Get somebody with a similar shoulder structure, put him in the suit. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, your tailor is a pervert.
So yeah, I mean, and also didn't Gambit get greenlit for a film now?
I haven't seen that he actually officially got greenlit. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I never really was on board with Channing Tatum being Gambit.
Yeah.
Like, I to be honest, I truly wasn't. I'm not a huge Channing Tatum fan. I love Magic Mike.
Yeah.
Like the first Magic Mike is perfect, but a lot of that's also to do with McConaughey. But Channing Tatum is great in that movie.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've never been a big fan of his, if I'm being honest.
Did you see him in Logan Lucky?
Oh, I did like him in Logan Lucky, but that's also like, I think the entire cast around that movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I've always liked him. I've always liked him. I think he kind of plays himself, which is very normal in Marvel films. You know, Ryan Reynolds was playing Ryan Reynolds, like, but he does a really good job of making his roles feel like his real person's like character. You know, like he makes it feel like that's the guy that's playing it. It may be him, but it doesn't come off as like he's reading or anything like that. You know, like he kind of like melts into it. And I think I like that. But you don't like him as Gambit?
No. After seeing him, I do buy him as Gambit.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know if he has the. I don't know if he has the chops to take Gambit and lead an entire series with.
Oh, a series or a movie?
Either. Because if they make one Gambit film and it's a hit, they're going to make more Gambit films.
Well, you could say the same thing about Ant-Man, and he got 3 movies.
Yeah, I mean, you could. But in my opinion, like that's the difference in me in my faith in Paul Rudd and my faith in Channing Tatum. I've never been that sold on Channing Tatum with specifically a character that's so weird as Gambit. Like he's not like, he was an awesome side character, and his relationship with Rogue and all that stuff is rad in the comics and in the show. And he's so suave, and the Cajun thing is so sick, but doing that accent all the time, like, can you do that for a whole movie as your lead dude and it not get old or that's a like farcy kind of,
or just in general, like, would the audience be able to understand?
For an entire movie. Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think he could do his own film. I don't think he could be a lead, like not Channing Tatum, but Gambit in general.
Yeah. It would have to be some kind of X-Men ensemble thing.
Yeah. But I could totally see him moving forward with Gambit in other works as like the character.
Yeah, I think so too. Like with an ensemble piece, I could see it totally working.
But I could also see anyone playing Gambit. Like I think a lot of people are saying like Channing Tatum is Gambit, and I just don't know if like I agree with that. I think he did a great job. I know he has a Creole background, so he was able to kind of like melt into that character very well. And I know that Gambit is his favorite superhero since he was a kid. Yeah, and so he deserved what he got just by his sheer amount of work he put in and everything like that. So I'm happy for him. But at the same time, like I don't know enough about Gambit, but I know that I know I feel like there are multiple different type of actors who could do that role.
Role.
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
And I also, I think that like, obviously we're not the one writing Gambit, but I think that he also works best with an ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right?
I think that's where he shines.
Like
best.
the Deadpool movie, he shines so well in that movie because he wasn't like he was just there, and every time he showed up, you were happy to see him.
Yeah. But also how do you make that translation from having a total of 4 minutes screen time to having, out of a 2-hour movie, having 90 minutes screen time?
Right.
Like that's a big jump.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, something to consider for sure. But yeah, no, there were so many good little like quips about, like he would just like, did anyone catch any of that? Like, I got nothing. Anybody? Or like, what is this guy's power again? I will say, I fucking love. I was curious when I was like, are they gonna like how are they gonna bitch out when it comes to his showing his power? And like, he was exploding fools. Like, I mean, like total disintegration. I was like, damn. And like when he did the staff thing and just exploded, old boy, I was like, oh my God. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
So that was a fun little surprise. It was rad.
Yeah. It was really cool. I know my friend, Mike from Atlanta, he like, how crazy of a MCU fan, Mike is. He's been reading comics for like
Basement Mike.
Yeah, he's been reading comics for like 35 years basically.
Yeah.
And he told me he was sad that what's her name, Elektra didn't get the recognition that she deserved, because she's an old
she's
an old
as
well.
Yeah. I know she was the one that I felt like I was like, they took the time to bring her in, and I felt like she got very little screen time.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. When she walked in, I was like, "Ooh, this is cool." Whoever this is, I had no idea.
You didn't even remember?
Nope, I didn't even remember her.
Yeah, I mean that's a weird one because she's in Daredevil, and then gets her own movie, a sequel to Daredevil, which. I read a little bit about. It's in that book that I read that they kind of killed it. Yeah. Like Marvel killed it. So it's kind of weird that they brought her back for this role, but at the same time, it's not, because it's the whole thing is like this love letter to that whole generation.
Right.
I was like super bummed that Punisher wasn't in it.
Oh yeah. But did they say something about him?
Yeah, they did. But I love the call where he was like, haven't there been like 4 Punishers? And he was like, there's only one Punisher. But I don't know if to me, that Punisher is Thomas Jane, the Punisher from the Fox movie.
Really?
That they're referencing, I think. But I know a lot of people love John Bernthal as the Punisher.
He's my Punisher, and I grew up the same era as you, so like I remember the old Punisher movies, and they were good, but no, Bernthal, like he is Punisher. Like I can't see him specifically. I can't see him playing any other MCU character. Yeah. And I now, like, after seeing him play Punisher, I can't picture anyone else playing Punisher. Like he just did such a good job.
I mean, and that's just a testament to like the depths that he goes to of the darkness in that character. Like he embodies the worst part of that character and like brings it to the foreground of every scene that he's in.
And I think Bernthal, like I grew up with him in Walking Dead. And that was my first time seeing him, I think. Yeah. And I've seen him in some, like, he's done some
Wolf of Wall Street and some stuff like
some
that.
Some small movies and stuff here and there, like small characters or roles, whatever. Yeah. But I've seen him play like someone who's really angry, someone who's really bitter, someone who's really jealous, while also showing immense amounts of like pain, and sadness. And I think in Buried, like he's so good at, or not buried. What's it called?
The tank movie.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah. What's it called?
Wolf? No. What is it called?
I thought it started with a B. Because it's the name of the tank. Not Burned. Not.
No, it's. What the hell is that movie?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It's just one word.
Yeah.
Who
you think you are, boy? Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Gonna raise her from the dead. God, that scene is so hard.
Yeah, that
scene's
I mean,
so
that
fucking
movie's
good.
crazy. That movie's crazy.
He plays Kunas. Fury.
There you go. Not
Fury.
B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
B.
He's good at showing like pain and anger like at the same time. You know, like like suffering as well as like rage. Like, and I think that's what the Punisher is. So I don't know. I can't wait. Like I know they've bridged these the shows into the MCU with like bringing
Chris Evans.
Oh yeah.
Chris Evans as fucking Johnny Storm, not Cap. Dude, that was so good.
That was so good.
I heard his voice and I was like, no way. And then I saw the glove and I was like, oh my God, they're doing Johnny Storm. And then he takes off the cloak and is at the Fantastic Four thing. And they're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. When I saw him show up, I was like, what would he be doing here? Like, what would Cap be doing here?
In Purgatory. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes no sense. And then the minute, like, he was like, oh my God, he's about to say it. Avengers, flame on. Oh
yeah. God, that was so good. Yeah, man. The some of the cameos in this shit was so good. Home dude is Pyro. Pyro was another one of my favorite.
I was waiting. Whenever I told you to watch it, that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to watch it, is because I've heard your story. I've heard you talk about Pyro so many times.
With my lighter that I used to carry around.
You hear about those?
Oh man. Did you hear about those mutants on the news? I'm the worst one. God, that seems so hard, man. I remember being like 12 years old watching that shit and being like, this man's unbelievable. He's the best mutant ever. Carries around the lighter. He shoots fire from his hands. Oh my God, he's amazing. He had that sick slick back hair too. In a world of like NSYNC boy band spiky hair that everybody had. He had just slick back hair. Oh God!
Yeah, I remember you loving him. So whenever I like watched the movie, I was like, first of all, I didn't recognize him. I didn't know who that was until like later on in his like appearance. But
yeah, I didn't. The guy that played Toad, I'd have to look it up. That wasn't Ray Park, was it?
No, a lot of some of those characters were played by different actors.
Okay, yeah. I didn't think that was Ray Park.
Yeah,
but.
like the Porcupine dude.
That was
it was a woman. Yeah. And there's so there were a couple changes. I think the Juggernaut was different.
Yeah, totally different. Dude.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of. It would have been cool for them to have every single actor from the old Fox films or whatever. But you know, you're reaching.
And I love the little line when he's talking about he's like Elektra, and he's like says something, and he's like, "Oh man, it's a pity we couldn't have Daredevil here." She's like, "Is it though?" Like, the whole thing with her and Ben. Yeah, that's just fucking awesome.
Yeah. But also, we have a different Daredevil now, right? We have the one. From the shows that's now like he's made it into Charlie. The MCU as like Spider-Man or what's his name's lawyer. Peter Parker's lawyer.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably why.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a universe. Like they made it a universe, so anyone could be anyone. But speaking of anyone can be anyone, let's talk Wolverine cameos.
Oh, God, Calverine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know who that was.
Me neither.
Like when it cut to him, because they don't show his face the first time they cut to him. They cut
he's
to him.
Working on his bike. Away.
Yeah, he's working on his bike. I was like, who the? I thought it was what's his name at first. I thought it was like Kurt Russell, or not Kurt Russell. Russell Crowe at first, because Russell Crowe was big, and I just saw the shoulders and the outline.
Russell Crowe is not big anymore. He's so old.
He's still a big man. He's not in shape anymore, but he's still like.
Yeah, so, that guy was
But that's who was supposed to play Wolverine. Before Hugh Jackman was cast.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
And him and Hugh were buddies. And he was like, man, I got to do Gladiator. Like, I'm doing Gladiator. I can't do this. He was like, you should call up Hugh. And he called Hugh and was like, you need to audition for this shit now.
Yeah.
So I thought that's who it was going to be at first. But they were going through them so fast that I was like, oh, what the fuck? But Cavill, man, smoking the stogie. Did you see him with the little fist cock
the
thing?
Fist cock?
Claws? It was so good. My Jesus Lord. The X-Men, the Age of not Age of Ultron, Age of Apocalypse version with the hand, the one-handed Wolverine, bro. I lost my mind when I saw that. Because that's probably my favorite version of Wolverine ever, just because of like how hard that whole series. I'm looking at it right now. It's this right here. This version right here. I keep this on my display because I love it. That right there, where he's got the one hand. Dude, this comic book series is so fucking good because it's all post-apocalypse world where the X-Men have turned on each other. You know, some of them are aligned with Apocalypse. Magneto runs the X-Mansion. Scott is one of the horsemen of the Apocalypse. That's why his whole hand is like that. It's because Scott full blast beams his fucking hand into obliteration and melts the adamantium over his arm so he can't grow back his hand.
Oh.
Yeah. Like it's.
Can he just chop off his whole arm and then let it grow back?
I mean, he can't regrow adamantium bones.
Oh yeah,
like it would be regular bones.
Yeah, true.
But he, Jean's got her hair cut really short and has like an M tattoo. They all have M tattoos on them for mutants. You know, they're branded. That version is so fucking sick, and he's just feral. He's like pure, like Weapon X feral Wolverine in that series. So when I saw that, I was losing my mind, dude.
I was sad not to get a Daniel Radcliffe Wolverine.
I know, that would have been really cool. That would have been really, really cool.
He could have been the short one, man. Whenever they showed short, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was great how they did, like, it was Hugh Jackman, but then he, like, they like shrunk his
body doubled. Yeah.
That was great, but man, Daniel Radcliffe Wolverine would have been cool to see. But they might have hit.
It was good, but I wish, honest to God, I wish they had have done like a short bodybuilder. Because Wolverine in the comics he's like 5'2", 5'4", but he's like 250. Like he's massive.
Jacked,
I wish they had have done, like, it was cool seeing small Wolverine, but I wish it would have been like a jacked ass bodybuilder.
Right.
That would have been really, really dope.
Yeah. So I guess, like, moving forward with the conversation about this, how do we see the future of this, like, with the MCU and like with, like, how do you think this might influence moving forward?
I mean, I kind of like what I was talking about earlier. I think that it forces Disney's hand into doing a big, like, course correction in how they're making films going forward. As far as their MCU universe thread line that they were doing, I think honestly, with the inclusion of what are they called? Not the CDC, the Loki, the timekeeper dudes.
I don't know.
Whatever they're called, TDA or whatever they're called.
I didn't follow that stuff much.
Yeah, but bringing them from, because that is that whole generation of post Endgame content. That's all the Disney Plus era. Bringing that, and that's honestly probably the best part of the Disney Plus era, is the Loki series. Like, it's actually really fucking good.
Yeah, it is good.
That and Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight.
Yeah.
But having that in there kind of helps it bridge that gap a little bit, I think it's going to be hard. I heard that he's wanting to do a Spider-Man thing with them, with Deadpool.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No Way Home, right? Or Far From Home, or whatever it's called. Homecoming. Homecoming.
Has it? No, that's they've already done that one.
Hold on.
Have they already given it a title?
I think so.
I just heard that Ryan Reynolds and the director of this Deadpool wanted to do one with Spider-Man, and they've only got Spider-Man for one more film.
Spider-Man or what's his name?
Spider-Man or Tom Holland. No, Tom both. Holland? Yeah, Tom Holland and Spider-Man. Tom Holland was going to be done, and they were also done with Spider-Man's contract. Like, it was officially done with Sony, but they renegotiated after how successful Homecoming was.
Mm-hmm. It just says more likely. Like, seems more likely after the movie.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but I heard that that's what Ryan Reynolds and him were wanting.
So who's Spider-Man then? Because
Tom
I don't
Holland.
think I don't want to see Tom Holland and Ryan Reynolds.
It's going to be Tom Holland. He's got one more with. I think they may, because the other thing too is that Toby and Andrew Garfield were not Fox. That's all Sony. So they're all Fox contracts or Sony contracts. So that's a whole different. You're talking about weaving in a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, they were able to do that with Far From Home, right? Or whatever it's called.
Yeah, but that's Sony coming into Marvel, not Sony coming into Fox Marvel.
Oh.
I mean, it's all under Marvel now, but there's still this, Yeah. I don't know if they'd be still willing to play like that. I think they want it to be a part of the main big Avengers.
I just don't think Tom Holland would be able to bounce off Ryan Reynolds like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never seen his timing, his comedic timing like that.
True.
I know that in the comics, they do that. They've done that, like, because the whole thing with Spider-Man and Deadpool is that they're both shit talkers. Like, they're both.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So in the comics, it works. I don't know as an actor.
I just mean Tom Holland. Yeah. I think Andrew Garfield would have been great with Deadpool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Andrew Garfield was like. He didn't. I think Andrew Garfield was the one out of the three that could have been non-PG, and it made sense. I think Tom Holland just feels like a PG guy.
Yeah, like, because Tom Holland been the PG-13 guy the whole time.
Yeah, I know, but even if he I don't know. I still haven't seen him in his the drama he just did about the serial killer or whatever.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I do want to see that, to see him in like more of like a kind of a harsher role, but I just haven't seen him. Like, he just feels so innocent. But maybe that's I don't know. We'll see.
And we're back after that quick little pee break.
Well, since we took a quick break, I want to. This is the thing that I'm curious about. Mm-hmm. So before the Deadpool's release, I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched the TV shows. I watched Loki. I watched Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
As far as movies goes,
I haven't watched anything. Yeah, I watched Spider-Man. That was the last one I watched.
Yeah. I did see. I saw.
I never saw Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. Oh, I did see. I went and saw that for my birthday. Because that was whenever, I kind of like connected to Thor. Mm-hmm. Everyone called me Thor at work and stuff. And so I went and saw that for my birthday, and it was funny, but it wasn't good. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think I told you that. I think I was like, I liked it, but it was bad.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed watching it, but it was a bad movie. It wasn't good. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things where like, I like the jokes that they made, and like, whatever.
Yeah, I think that was a general consensus, is that Taika went way too silly with it and didn't give enough substance to it.
Yeah, which is so strange because he's so good
at walking that line.
Yeah, I think we just need Favreau to stay on, man. Favreau needs to be.
Well, Favreau, that's the problem. Favreau hasn't been a part of Marvel for a long time, as far as the creative process, like literally since the first Iron Man. Or the second Iron Man.
He didn't do one of the Guardians?
That's James Gunn.
Oh, I thought he did one of them. Yeah, he's just so good. He's so good.
Yeah.
I would love to see him come back and start doing some stuff again. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is, what do we need them to do, or what do you think they need to do to save MCU besides just like changing how they do plots and stuff like that? Like, do they bring back a new group of the main team? You know, like
Bring
new
back
actors.
those characters, but with new actors.
Do they start over again, or are there characters that they could continue this specific canon universe that can lead? Because I'll say, like, Doctor Strange, he's not doing too hot. Like,
No.
he's too, I don't know, he's too like rough around the edges, and he could have been I think he could have been good, but
I think it was the writing. I think the writing for the Doctor Strange films really let that whole series down.
Yeah. Like, whenever he showed up in the other movies, it was cool to see him, but they kind of wrote him out to be unlikable, and now we don't want to see him. Now we know that they are able to change, because they did that with Thor. Like, Thor was very unlikable in the first two movies, and then they made him more of like a comic-y kind of lovable character, and everyone loved him. But as it stands, like, I can't see him being like a leader of this universe.
Yeah. I don't know. I've thought about that because I've had similar conversations with other people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't know how interested I am. Actually, I know I'm not interested in any of their main characters that they're trying to pump up to be the next big four.
Yeah.
In the current format that they're using.
Yeah.
In this PG-13 paint by numbers version of what they've been doing. Yeah. I don't care.
I do believe. Go ahead.
It would have to be. So here was my big thing when. Here was my big thing with Sebastian Stan not taking on the moniker of Captain America, as like in the Death of Captain America comics after Cap's gone, right? Mm-hmm. And having Sam take over, which he does in the comics. I think back in 2014 when they started it. To do that, this next one might be good. The next Captain America, whatever it's called.
Are you talking about the one with Sam, what's his name?
Yeah, Sam, what's his face as Falcon as Captain America. It might be good. I don't know.
No, he's one of my least favorite.
I mean, me too. But who knows? Maybe it'll be good. I don't know. The problem is that it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah.
Of what it's been.
Yeah.
When you look at having Sebastian Stan take over as the Bucky Barnes version of Captain America, that version of Captain America is basically the Punisher as Captain America. It's so dark and it's so fucked. Like he's killing dudes.
Yeah.
He's like, you're a piece of shit, low life scum who's killed so many people. Why would I let you live? And he's this totally different version of Captain America. It's really dark and it's so good. But Disney won't fucking do that. And so they're going to have to do, if they're going to keep those characters, they're going to have to do something like that. They're going to have to take a total tonal change.
Well, this is the problem though, is that I understand, and I do love like more darker films. I think like the original X-Men are really good. They were darker, like Deadpool rated R, so good. However, we have to they also want to keep
they want to market
the demographic. Yeah, they want to, yeah. and I think they should. I think
toys sell, sure.
Yeah. Well, and also kids deserve to have to be able to watch
a role model. Yeah.
Or just I think like the Marvel and DC universe should be shared with children. Like we shouldn't keep it from them by bringing this industry into like a more mature But I do think there should be.
But it also started that way with Blade. Like Blade is rated R, and it's not a child's movie, and it's fucking sick.
Right. It is great. It's fantastic. However, I love how the universe has developed to where kids can like be fans because they're not going to read comics. Kids are not going to read comics. They're going to watch stuff on TV. And like, I grew up with the Justice League cartoon and all this. And like, so I wouldn't want the industry to change to exclude children, you know? However, I do think we could have both. Yeah, we could have both.
Which is what Fox initially did. You know, like you had Blade, which was really dark. And then like 2 years later, you had X-Men. Yeah. Which was also darker, but I watched as a 10-year-old. Yeah. And it was fine. You know? I think
the times have changed.
With different characters. Certain characters lend themselves to these darker roles. Like, like they could have an entire, which is what they've been saying for so long. Like you could have a Midnight Sun series, you know, with Ghost Rider, Blade, Moon Knight, Wolverine, and it would be fucking sick. Like, or Marvel Knights, I think it's called Marvel Knights series, which is where it's just darker and it's a lot more adult oriented. But you could also still have, you know, the Avengers type stuff, which is more towards a broader audience and more kid friendly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
You just have to have the balls to do it, and you have to commit, which is Marvel's. That was their thing, right? That's what differentiated Marvel from DC, and the reason that Marvel was so successful, almost straight out of the gate, and why DC is still 15 years later floundering, is because Marvel had a plan. They set it in motion, and they followed it. They stuck to it. Now, there were 1 or 2, 3 little projects here and there that they would move around and change, you know? But for the most part, they had their plan and they stuck to it. And when they were like, you know what? We don't know if the audiences are going to like this. They had a Kevin Feige. And that's one thing. After reading that book, it was like, you have to have a Kevin Feige type person to be like, this is the plan. We're going to stick to it. Because if we execute this movie how we think it's going to be executed, the fans will love it. Like that was the whole thing with Guardians, dude. Guardians were so F tier superheroes, and James Gunn took that team of fucking nobodies and made them one of the biggest parts of the Marvel universe. Yeah. And they were like, it was one of the biggest smashers of that year, you know? But that was because they had a Kevin Feige to say, this is the plan. We're sticking to the plan. We're not going to have this crazy knee-jerk reaction of like, we're going to go this way. Oh, shit. Well, that didn't make a lot of money, so we're going to totally switch gears and go an entirely different route, and we're going to fire the president and hire a new director. And it's like, bro, just trust the process a little bit. Like, trust the process, trust your audience. Yeah. Like, make good films, and the audience will be there to watch them.
For sure. Are there like, who do you think, who's your like new big four? If we're talking like, who's going to lead the industry, you know?
For Marvel, I think it's going to be Fantastic Four. Like, it's going to have, I think so. I think they're going to try to really push Fantastic Four. Just because I know Kevin Feige, that's been his favorite team since he was a kid. And it's been the team that's been in limbo for so long. The original ones weren't very successful. Right. They were super comic booky. You know what I mean? Like, it was that latter part of Fox where things were really comic booky. And then they tried to do that weird thing with Josh Trank in 2015 or whenever that was, which was just, ugh. That's all I got to say about that. That film was so bad. I don't know. Side tangent. That film was so goddamn bad that in the middle of the film, it cuts to black for like 5 seconds. And I thought the damn film was over. And then it just starts again. Like, it was so bad that they couldn't cut it any different to where they had to start it again because they had to start filming change the whole last half of the film, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was bad. I think that they're going to go Fantastic Four. They got Pedro Pascal in.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of actors but they're hot right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. It's just celebrity grabbing.
Yeah.
It's just celebrity, and it's so boring to me.
I know.
Because it doesn't...
When it started, it was a bunch of no-names or up-and-comers and a huge risk with Robert Downey. Like, he had a name, but he was a huge studio risk. So much of a studio risk that Paramount told Favreau no.
Yeah.
And Favreau literally said, "I'll walk."
Yeah.
If we don't get him. And he took so much less money. That's Downey took a pay cut big time in the first one, but it was for one movie. And then he had that legendary contract renegotiation for the second one. So you're going to have to, I know what you're saying though. It doesn't feel special like that.
Because listen, I love Pedro Pascal.
But he's in everything right now.
He's in everything because he's popular, and it's like he's not always the best fit.
No,
I'm sorry. I've had different types of debates with different people on this issue, but the Last of Us series, the Last of Us video game is one of my favorite video games of all time.
Right.
The original, the first one. And I played it multiple times all the way through. I played it with different people to see their reactions to playing it. And like, I had a very concrete image of what those characters looked like, what they acted like, the emotion that they felt. And casting Pedro Pascal because he was popular, like, it didn't work for me. Like, he did a fantastic job, but it felt like they just cast him because he was popular. And they're going to do the same thing with Fantastic Four. And like, he's going to do a great job, but it just doesn't feel like a fit, it just doesn't. It just feels like I'm going to be watching Pedro Pascal,
And I think, here's an interesting discussion, because we have different views on The Last of Us. You haven't played the games and me not.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal totally worked for me, but I don't have that frame of reference of the games, right?
Yeah.
The exact same thing is going to happen with Fantastic Four, in that I've never been a Fantastic Four fan, like I wasn't, especially Reed Richards. I honestly can't stand Reed Richards. I hate him as a character, him and Hank Pym. I can't stand them. They're fucking emotionally abusive to Shannon and Jan. I can't stand him. Like, they're and Reed Richards is actually physically abusive to her. Like, he beats the shit out of her in one of the comics. I've never been a fan of him.
Yeah.
So I don't have that attachment to be like, this is who should play him. This actor doesn't fit that. So I don't know. I may watch it and I may be like, I thought he did a pretty good job with the type of story they're trying to tell.
But he's a rubber band man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would it have made you feel any better if they'd have casted Krasinski?
Well, Krasinski is like tall and lanky, so he and he's very handsome.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Krasinski play him, but I still don't think he can lead. I think he could have been a good Fantastic Four leader. I don't think Fantastic Four can lead the industry. Yeah. I think what's his name? Elastaman? Captain Elastic? What's his name?
Mr. Fantastic?
Yeah, whatever.
Mr. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always thought he was a really stupid
lame
hero.
Yeah.
Like having a character that can stretch, cool. Having a lead, having a lead character that can stretch, no. Yeah. No. No. What kid is being like, I'm Elastaman or whatever his name is? Yeah. It's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I remember if you look at all of them, like, that's the whole point, kind of, with them, is like, you got one guy who's super elastic, all right, and then you have one guy that's like just really strong and durable in the thing. It's like, all right, but that's just kind of one thing, and then you got another guy who's like, well, he can make himself into fire and shoot fire. That's cool, but it's just like one thing. And then you have the other girl, Invisible Woman or whatever the hell her name is, Mrs. Fantastic, who just can go invisible. And it's like,
she can make force fields too, right?
Well, yeah, but it's like,
yeah.
I've just never been super into Fantastic Four.
Me neither. Yeah,
but I think that's what they're trying to push as the next team.
And I don't think it's going to work. Yeah. I don't think it's going to work. You know who I want to see come into the MCU? He was one of my favorite characters. No, but yes, he was one of my favorite characters in or maybe my favorite character in Justice League, which was The Martian.
Oh, well, that's Justice League.
Love The Martian. Huh?
That's Justice League. That's DC.
There wasn't a crossover?
No.
Oh, I'm mixing. I could have sworn there wasn't Wolverine in Justice League?
Absolutely not.
He wasn't.
I'm about to stop this total goddamn podcast. Fuck you. I'm about to.
I thought I was mixing them. I thought they were together. Not MCU and.
We just lost all credibility to this podcast. I want you to know people are rage quitting right now.
I'm mixing images in my head.
No, I think so. I think that
I know Justice League. I know DC Justice League. The movies are Justice League DC, but for some reason my brain was telling me Justice League the cartoon was different.
Different? No, man. They were.
I'm mixing two cartoons together.
Studios.
I'm mixing two cartoons. I thought it was like my brain is picturing like everybody on one thing. Is that
even if you like
DC?
Look at their animation styles too, like the animation style for the X-Men cartoon, they were beefy. Like they had legs and I mean like backs and everything.
Because I remember,
Warner Brothers had that very distinct silhouette where it was big old wide chest and shoulders, and then skinny itty bitty legs.
Yeah, I must be mixing both cartoons together in my brain because I was like picturing like I was picturing freaking what's his name that shoots lasers?
From what?
From Marvel. Shoots lasers.
Cyclops.
I was picturing Cyclops
in DC.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm like picturing him having.
Superman has laser vision.
Yeah, maybe I'm just mixing everybody together. That was like what?
You mixing up white boys, dog.
That was like 25 years ago. So
yeah.
But anyway, sorry, my bad.
But I think that it's either going to be an X-Men thing. I just don't think that they have the confidence in X-Men to make it their main thing, though.
Yeah,
like I really don't. I don't know, huh?
It could be. There's so many characters.
Fuck yeah, there's so many, dude. X-Men is the fucking truth. Yeah. It's so good. And now that they have it, if they don't, it's gonna blow my fucking mind. If they don't do it, so there was this awesome series that they did. It's called The Avengers versus the X-Men. They did back in like 2012, 2014, somewhere in there, where it's the Avengers versus the X-Men. It's kind of like a Civil War type thing where like the Marvel universe is split into whose side. I forget the exact conflict. I think it's the Phoenix Force, like is coming back to Earth, and it's that entity is like, it's like who's gonna bow down to it and be in servitude to it versus who's gonna fight it and stuff. And it splits a lot of people. Like T'Challa and Storm are married at that point, and they have very different opinions on it because she's a mutant and he's not, and it's like this very dividing thing, and it's an amazing series. But they have the opportunity to do that now, and I don't know if they have the balls to do it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But here's the thing, and they can always rewrite. They can change stuff around because they change stuff around all the time. In that series, Cap and all them are a big part of it. So if they do it, they're either going to have to do some rewrites and change who the big players are, or they have to bring back those players. Yeah. So,
are there any characters that you don't feel like the future of MCU can do without? That work like that they're trying to do without?
I think they're trying to do without Cap and Iron Man right now, and they're fucking struggling.
I don't feel like you can do an MCU series without the Hulk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, well, they're trying to still do the Hulk thing. I don't think they've given up on Hulk.
Yeah, but they're just gonna have to get another new one.
Is Ruffalo out?
He's gone, right? Isn't he done?
I don't think so.
Oh, that he wasn't part of the contracts that ended.
I think he's still in. Because he was like, I had the luxury. Like he was like, dude, I get to go and play this. I think I heard an interview with him where he was like, I get to go play a superhero and I don't have to work out.
Yeah.
Like they just CGI all that shit. Yeah. So he's like, I can play this till I'm fucking 90.
Yeah.
Know? So
yeah. Well, we could talk about this for hours, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think our consensus is the movie was fantastic.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The last thing that I'll say on it is, again, like the fact that the whole thing seemed kind of like a love letter to that era of Fox for me was so beautiful. And at like I texted you, I was like, what I text you? I was like, I swear to God, you can put good riddance time of your life to anything, but you put it to a goddamn montage of 2000s Fox Marvel movies, and I'm balling every time. Yeah, because dude, it was so good. The little BTS stuff of like of all those Fox movies. Oh, it was so sweet, man. I was like, just finally over.
Yeah, I know. Let me ask you a question. Was there anything in the movie you didn't like? Because I had a couple.
I'm sure there might have been, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
I think Hugh Jackman's CGI at the end was so bad. Whenever he put his mask on and then they're fighting all the Deadpools, his CGI was awful.
When you put the mask on? When he actually pulls it over?
He pulls it and then the rest of that fight, he's CGI. Like he's just like...
No.
Yeah.
The whole fight?
There's a scene... There's a scene.
Catch it.
Oh, there's a scene where after the fight's over, they get back, like they're standing beside each other and they're breathing, and he looks like he's straight out of a 2011 PlayStation game.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it looks bad. But that's
I will. Side note on the CGI thing, I will say the fight scene when they first get to Purgatory, and Wolverine does that crazy thing. Oh my God. I lost my mind. I was like, they're finally showing him what he's supposed to do.
Well, where he like runs on all fours?
Yeah, and he's just like just fucking running. Oh my God, that was
I know, that scene was great. Honestly, like the best fight scenes were between them two. Most of the fight scenes were between them two.
The van fight scene, fucking good.
Yeah, so good. I mean, dude, the movie was fantastic. It was fantastic.
So what were your other than that CG thing, what was the other thing that you had? Because I can't, honest to God, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm bringing it up, I can't remember the other one there that I had, but it was the CGI of Wolverine, I think, was super out of place with how good the movie was for there to have just him like looking like straight out of a PlayStation game, looked so out of place.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it was super weird. And there was another one, but I don't remember it now, so I don't know. Maybe it was with the like Xavier's sister. I wasn't a big fan of.
Oh yeah, okay. Now that you say that, that was something like her whole plot line seemed a little paper thin.
Yeah,
I was just like, I don't get the point. Like she's a class S mutant.
Yeah,
like she's an S tier mutant.
Yeah,
and so they nerfed her pretty bad. Yeah. And in the whole, but they kind of allude to that. Like he openly says like, well, here's your MacGuffin. And here's your red herring, and it's like, cause in the end, she's kind of just doing the whole Magneto thing at the end of, Age of Apocalypse, where he's for the last like 15 minutes of the movie, he's literally just standing above everyone, just like gathering trash and metal.
Yeah,
for a reason that you don't really like. Why is he doing this? That's what it kind of felt like.
Speaking
I know
of,
she was trying to avoid the whole timeline thing, but
I'm sorry to change the subject. You just reminded me. Hold on 1 second.
What about Ian?
Never mind. I forgot. I forgot. I saw this video the other day that said he passed away, and
oh God, Lance.
but it was fake. It was fake.
Yes,
I forgot.
Jesus,
it was fake.
fucking.
That's why I looked it up before I said anything.
Bringing this whole team vibe down. God.
Okay, we need to move on.
Side note of Ian McKellen, did you see that they're doing an anime of Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
But
I did see that. Yeah.
bro, that looks hype as fuck.
Yeah. Well, I never got into the TV series.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it and it was honestly better than I thought it was going to be. The new season premieres like this week, I think.
Really? I saw the first episode and I never watched it anymore.
I mean, I had a lot of qualms with it, but for the trailers for the first season made it look like hot fucking garbage. Yeah. And so my expectations were way down here. So when I watched it and I was like, like it really wasn't that bad. Like I honestly don't buy old girl as Lady Galadriel. Like she looks like a human. I don't care that you put elf ears on her. She looks like a human the entire time I'm watching this show. Like she is not 24-year-old Kate Blanchett. It's just not. Like you look at Kate Blanchett in the first Lord of the Rings film, and you're like, that's fucking elf.
Yeah,
that is the elf queen right there.
Yeah,
and this lady, and it's before she is Lady Galadriel. I get that, but like, even when you go to Rivendell, like when they go to Rivendell, it doesn't feel like Rivendell. Mm-hmm. Like it just feels like another place.
Yeah,
like when you go to Rivendell in Lord of the Rings, the whole movie changes. Like the whole cinematography of not only the motion of how the camera moves, the lighting, everything changes. And with this, it's just like, oh, well, I guess we could turn the sky panels on a little warmer, I guess. And that guy can have straight hair, but everybody else, like, I don't know. Like, they didn't. Not enough of it made me feel like it was special.
Yeah.
And the original Lord of the Rings series was special.
Right.
So that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. You wanted to move on to another topic, right?
So I went to go see Longlegs. I'm not gonna reveal any spoilers, really.
Mm-hmm. I might try to bootleg it sometime soon.
I mean, you can watch it however you want to watch it, baby.
Yeah, and then
the workers who worked on that film have already been paid, so
yeah,
that's fine. I don't do horror. We talk about this all the time. I'm a really big baby when it comes to horror. I don't like being scared. I don't like it.
One of my friends, I'm the same.
Yeah. One of my friends that I worked with on the last show, though, she's really into horror. And when we got back from Cleveland, we were going to go the last week. We were going to go watch it up there when it came out. Didn't get to. And when we got back, she was like, let's go see it. So they had it playing at the Plaza, and I really like the Plaza. And so we went, and from the get-go, it's like not your I didn't know anything going into it, right? And it's more of, I will say that it's more of a thriller than it is like a horror film. But it's almost two separate movies.
Like two halves, or like two things going on at once?
Like the movie changes. Like you think that it's this thriller, like a Silence of the Lambs type thing, and then something happens and it's not. All of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like how The Witch was, right? Like,
yeah, like you think it's just this period
this
piece,
family going
like,
crazy.
It's kind of in their head, and it's like, you know, them projecting these beliefs onto something, and then so it's making it real to them. You know? That's kind of how this is. I'll say this: Nick Cage is unbelievable in this movie. Like, it's arguably worth going to see just to see how good he is.
Yeah.
He's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. And you don't even recognize it's him. Really. Like, until you're like if I didn't know that it was Nick Cage, the whole movie I probably would have been like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
because he does have like some prosthetic stuff on it.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 clips on TikTok, you know?
Yeah. But what made me really love it is because it does that thing that The Witch does, where it doesn't just throw jump scare after jump scare at you. It has this feeling of unrest and uneasiness that it's just constantly swelling. It's building and building. And
where you're just like, I don't like what's going on.
Yeah, and oh god, I'm getting like literal goosebumps in the back of my neck right now. It uses like a similar thing, kind of like how they use the horror box or the murder box, whatever it's called.
Nightmare Machine.
The Nightmare Machine. They do similar score things like that.
Yeah.
That again just swell the terror of the scene.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the Nightmare Machine was a musical instrument invented just to film, like just to make the music for the score or the score for The Witch.
Yeah.
And they've used it in multiple of those, in more than just that film after that.
Yeah. Because it was so good. It was such an effective tool.
I think they used it in Hereditary as well.
Probably. And I think so. It's actually the same. It's A24. And is Hereditary A24 or is it Blumhouse?
I don't know. It's by the same director, right? I think it's A24. Or let's just look it up.
Yeah. If it is the same, I haven't seen Hereditary, but I've also heard that comparison that it's on that line. So if that checks out,
they're definitely done by the same either director or. Let's see. A24, yeah.
A24, okay.
Yeah.
It does this, thing too, where it's this psychological filmmaking at its finest, where the framing of the shots, they did it in The Strangers, they do it in The Witch, where it's like you'll have the character in the foreground, but off to the side, off to the background, somewhere in the frame is a window or a door that's just placed where it's open, and it's like she's in the foreground, and yet your eye is constantly being moved to the background. It's not even in focus, but you're constantly just looking at these exits or something, expecting to see something, and occasionally it does happen, but it's just, again, it adds this feeling of unease and just panic to the scene, man. It's great. It's so good, and it doesn't make me really want to become a horror head or whatever they're called, like a horror fan, but because I watch them so infrequently, it does. After watching it, I was like, I'd be okay to kind of explore more than I tend to explore, I think.
Right.
But I'll say this. If you're like me, if anybody listening to this, if you're like me and you've got like some deep-rooted religious trauma still in you, and like demonic stuff kind of messes with you still, I would say watch this movie earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And then have a palate cleanser before you go to bed. Because for about 3 or 4 hours after watching that movie, that's all I was thinking about was that movie. It was in my head. And luckily, I went to go see that movie the night of maybe it was like 2 weeks before the season finale of House of the Dragon. So I was still watching House of the Dragon. So luckily that night I came home, watched an episode of House of the Dragon, and it was a pretty big episode where there was a lot of dragon fights. And that night, instead of having a nightmare about Longlegs, I had a pretty cool dragon dream.
That's where you start to like ruin it for me, because dude, I have trouble. I don't want to get too personal, but I have really bad nightmares, semi-frequently.
You have like sleep paralysis before, haven't you?
I've never had sleep paralysis. I have like anxiety attacks where I'll wake up in a panic a lot. And like Sunday night I had. Oh,
your brother was the one that has the story about the sleep paralysis guy, maybe, right?
Yeah.
In the army.
Yes.
I think that was you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That.
I don't want to. That story that kills me.
I love telling that story because it's scary as hell.
Oh God, I hate it.
But yeah, it's that's a scary one. But yeah, I also have like night terrors once in a while, and I had one the other night that was like, I don't want to go into deep detail, but I was like lost in this like house that was just like not a house you want to be lost in. There's like a lot of disturbing things. And I couldn't get out. I was like running around trying to find the exit of this house, and there's like someone like chasing me and stuff, and it was horrifying. I ran into some like, I remember, I'm not going to say, but I don't want to be too vivid, but I ran in like, there's this like door that was open, and I thought someone was behind the door, like where it was like leaned against the wall, you know, when you open a door, and I like looked behind it, and there's like something really disturbing, and it like messed me up. And like I woke up freaking out. But that's why I don't watch horror films, because it just gives me more fuel for the fire.
Yeah.
It's just like the things that my brain can come up with are so vivid, man. And like, it's hard to watch horror movies because I'm just like, man, I'm going to see something, and then my brain is going to be like, I can make that even scarier.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way, and that's one of the reasons, because I'll dwell on it, and it's like this, like it's the idea of Insidious, the first Insidious, where they talk about the one that's the parasite, that's like
maybe I didn't see Insidious. But yeah,
give me chills, dude.
Yeah,
the parasite demon that attaches to the boy, and like each time it's going through the photographs, there's like the woman. God, it's fucking. I hate it. I can't even talk about it.
I know.
Anyway, it's that idea, and it burrows into my mind, and it just keeps on like popping up. That's why I don't watch horror. But I will say, this movie, after I got that initial like period, that like it was maybe 2 days where I was kind of walking on eggshells a little bit, like in my own house, like a little bit, like, you know, after that, you know, I genuinely really like the film. We're at the point where I would probably watch it again. Like if I come down or come up or whatever we were going to try to do. I would be down to watch it together.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm trying to purposely not say a lot about this film, because anybody listening who hasn't seen it, the less you know about this film, the better going into it.
I like movies like that. Like, and I will say, like, my thing is, I love, like, if I watch thrillers, I love thrillers when they deal with people.
Yeah.
You know, thrillers that deal with people, I prefer over thrillers that deal with the supernatural, like hauntings and stuff like that. I'm not great with that. But like people, like Strangers. Remember the movie Strangers? That movie is terrifying, but it was so good because it's just people. It's just
one of the best horror movies ever made. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just bad people.
It's the line. And that's also one of the scariest parts of the whole movie is the line of, why are you doing this? Because you were home.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, what? But at the end of the day, they are people.
Right.
You know, and you can you can kill somebody.
Yeah.
How you gonna kill a damn demon?
Like, exactly. And that's my thing, is like, when it comes to something inescapable, like hauntings, demons, like things like that, like just nothing you can do. Like you're just at the whim of it's like horror, and it's torture. Yeah.
So
that's
all I'm going to say on Longlegs. But
fair enough.
I would be down to watch it if we can get together soon.
Yeah. You just let me know.
Moving on. You want to touch on My Hero?
Let me go for a second. Yeah. So the manga just completed a couple weeks ago now. I'm watching the series. I haven't read the manga. I don't read ahead. Okay. I turn my mic off for a second. However, I told you the other day, like, there's been some uproar about it. People aren't happy with how it ended. People are a little disappointed, or a lot of people are very disappointed with how it ended. And like, you know, that kind of worries me, because I'm going to keep watching the series, because like I've watched this show for a very long time. I love the theme of it. I love like the characters, but I'm sad, man. Like, it's, you know, there's been some disappointing moments throughout the show, like as far as the writing goes, or the direction of the show, you know, like this season there's been some pretty big fight scenes, and they were kind of lackluster, you know,
because of the animation. Or
animation.
just oh, okay.
Yeah. They just like, they could have, I don't know, they just could have done it better. They could have like drawn it out a little bit more, made it a little bit more powerful, like impactful. And they just kind of like, just kind of finished it. They just kind of like got it out of the way and then moved on. And it's just like, come on. But I'm still enjoying it. But now I'm like watching with the assumption that, it's going to be a disappointing end. And it feels like all these shows that I have gravitated towards so hard have all been like that, like Attack on Titan. That was our show. Like that was like
literally the show of a generation.
Yeah. Like that was our like anime version of Game of Thrones. And we were on it every episode. We were watching, we were ready. Mm-hmm. And then it had the ending it had. And like some people liked it, some people didn't. But this is coming from my perspective is it feels like I can't have a show that I get connected to that ends perfectly, or ends not even perfect, but just ends in a way that I'm like, man,
it's satisfying.
That was such a good show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like either it's a one and done and I'm like, man, that was good. I just wish it could have gone longer, or it lasts longer than, a season or two. And then you're like, why'd they have to end it like that?
Yeah. You either die a good man or you live long enough to see yourself become the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, man. It's that thing. It's so many shows do it where it's like they want to keep this successful thing going, but the more success you have, the more expectation you have from fans, and the more you kind of have to keep upping it, and at some point, like you can't, and so there comes a tipping point where that's you have to either find that and end it, or you find that and that's where you're stuck, and you can't go, really higher than that. And to be able to bring it to a full circle, like ending, like a complete ending.
What bothers me is that if you're reading something, you're watching something, and these writers, right? You can tell they're good writers, right? Mm-hmm. Like just going off of like, the first couple of seasons of My Hero, the first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones, the first season of, you mentioned Westworld yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Like you can tell that these people, they know how to write a story that's compelling, that's like original and unique and like well thought out. And it's like, why? Like what happens? Why can't they just stay true to their prowess and keep it going? Like why do they have to be like, okay, we've done so good. Now we're going to just flip it around and just chop it in half. It's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, especially with like you're talking about like Westworld, like you can watch Westworld, you can watch that first season and not watch anything after that and be like, this is one of the best miniseries I've ever watched in the history of cinema. Like this is unbelievably perfect.
Yeah.
And then you get to season 2, and season 2 is good. It's really good, but it's not quite as good as 1. And then after that, you're like, what happened? Yeah. Like what happened?
Yeah.
To the point where I never, the love that I have for that, the first 2 seasons of that show, I never finished it. I never watched season 4. I think I watched like 75% of season 3.
Yeah, the ending.
But I'll never finish that series, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just pretend like it's the same with the OA, right? Like the OA. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Have you watched it?
No.
Dude, the first season is Westworld level.
Me. Yeah, you've told me. I remember you used to love that show.
And I always tell people, you can watch the first season as if it's a one and done. Just like the same with Westworld. Like it'll leave it with a little open-ended ending.
Yeah.
But there's like Love, Death, and Robots has open endings. What's the other one? The big one, the like thriller series that's like an anthology. It's live action. Black Mirror. Like a lot of Black Mirror episodes end open-ended, and you're like, yeah. So like it's just like that. If you are okay with open-ended stories, like you can watch first season of Westworld and be like, hell yeah, that's a dope ass open-ended story. Same with the OA is like the OA is a thrilling ride from beginning to the end of first season. And you're just like, that was a cool open-ended way to end it. You know, I can picture the rest in my mind, because if you watch what happens next, you're gonna be like, no, you know. But when it comes to My Hero, like, these characters are written so well. In like Endeavor's character development is one of the coolest character development stories of like going from like
the shitbag that he is in the first couple seasons.
Yeah, and his growth is realistic. Like, it's not like, oh, we wanted you to hate him so that now that you can love him, you know, and you feel conflicted or whatever. Like, they show you him building on that from season to season, episode to episode. You like, and it feels real, and it feels like where even people who like would like say, I'll never like this guy, you're like, dang, like I can't not like him because he's trying so hard. Like, he's handling like his own like villainous and his own like what's the word for like just being a very bad person. He's handling it with respect. Like, he acknowledges who he was, what he did, and like he's not making excuses. He's not like trying to cover up anything. Like, he's leaving it to bear and being like, yeah, this was bad. This was bad, and there's nothing I can do to change it. I'm just going to keep moving forward, because I'm not going to like just like, you know, I'm not just going to like kill myself and then like, you know, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going with the understanding that I did things really horrible, and now I have a lot of like making up to do, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characters in that show that do the same thing, like not like that, but all these characters that have these arcs that grow, they all grow in a very like understandable and respectable way, whether it's respectably negative or respectably positive. You know, you can, the people that are like descending into like more of a like villainous role, you can see it happening, and you're like, dang, dude, that sucks. I can see why. Did you watch JJK at all?
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah.
Are you caught up?
Yeah.
All right. You know Geto's like arc, right? In the prequels?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how like you watch that and you're like, I hate seeing him, this happen to him, but like I get it. Like I see why he's
yeah.
My Hero's done the same thing, man. Like, and it's such a blessing to see something handle these character arcs and these character developments and these characters in general so well. And it's really unfortunate to hear that all that's going to be tossed out the window potentially. You know, same with like Attack on Titan did it, where all these character arcs and these like developments are so well done, and like the mystery behind Attack on Titan is so enthralling, and you're just like constantly trying to figure out what is happening. And when you finally do, you're like, why did you lead us through this like crazy jungle of mystery and surprise?
Just for this simple solution of like what you're doing.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm just like left wondering.
Do you wonder? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Are you wondering if it's even worth finishing, knowing that you're probably going to be really let down?
You know, it's. I'll answer that question with saying it's the same thing as The Walking Dead, right? Like, there reached a point in The Walking Dead where I was like, this show is over for me. Like, they just ruined it. But I watched The Walking Dead from the time I was like, what, 13, 14?
Nah, we were like, it premiered in 2010. So you'd have been like 17, 18?
2010, I would have been 20.
What? Are you older than I am? Yeah, you are, aren't you? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I was 18 in 2008, 19 in 2009.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, you know,
it's been so long.
Yeah, I watched that, and so like I wasn't gonna just like I couldn't just stop.
Watch them destroy it. Yeah.
Well, I could, but I just couldn't stop. Like, I watched these characters grow up, you know, like,
oh, okay.
Like, I watched these characters like live for a decade, So I couldn't just like leave it. I had to finish the story. So I finished The Walking Dead. I wasn't happy with anything that I saw.
Oh, you did finish it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you dropped it.
No, I finished it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I finished it all the way, and like I was unhappy the whole time.
Yeah.
But I felt like when it comes to like, especially the actors who like put so much time into those roles and tried their hardest to like do a good job, like I owed it to like, dang, I can't remember his name that plays, Norman Reedus. Like I owed it to him to see where his story ends, because like I watched
Turns
him.
out it didn't end.
Yeah. But it's the same thing with My Heroes that like I've watched this show, I've watched these characters grow and like go through all this stuff. Like I owe it to them to try to see where it ends, even if I know that someone else wrote it to like not end in a very nice place,
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep watching. Who knows? Maybe I won't agree. Maybe I'll like where it ends, but I feel like I feel like the consensus on, especially with anime, is usually on point, that there's a consensus that people aren't going to like the AOT ending.
Yeah.
When the anime finish, I know Demon Slayer is going to be like a double-edged sword, kind of a bittersweet ending.
I'm fine with that.
People say it's like our friend Joey, he says like if they continue with this art and this like level of like detail in the show, then it's going to go down as maybe the best anime in history.
I'm fine with that. Like as like having a bittersweet ending is perfect. What I don't like is a safe ending.
Oh yeah.
Like something that it's like something like Attack on Titan did, where it's like this safe, it's like you're not, everything is kind of like, what you expect in a way.
Yeah. Can you hear kids screaming at my
murder?
I'm sorry. I told you whenever, as soon as I went to get online, they came home and I was like, hey, just letting you know, there's like a circus.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But yeah, I think as long as like, because the thing with the bittersweet ending is like, there is this feeling of like, it's like this feeling of like, what if? And so like you're still creating the story in your head even after it's done.
Yeah. And what's worse is you and I being both very creative, very imaginative people. There's nothing worse than watching a great series and being able to imagine a more complex and imaginative ending than what you get.
Than what you just get. Yeah.
Like there were so many theories watching Game of Thrones. There were so many theories watching Attack on Titan of like how they could end it, what's going to happen. And all of our theories were more exciting than what we actually got.
Yeah. I know.
It's like, even if we got what we were imagining, we would be like, I knew it, but it was still would have been a better, like more intriguing story than what we got,
Yeah.
Because what we got is like, oh, okay, I guess. And, I have no idea like what to expect with My Hero. My brother read or like looked at the ending and he was like, dude, you're going to be pissed. I was like, no, no, don't do this to me. I can handle bittersweet. I can handle like, like sacrifices needing to be made and like, whatever, but don't ruin a story. Don't ruin your character's arc. Don't ruin, like, if you know how to write a story, you're proving that you know how to write a story. Don't let, why does an ending have to like be so hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother just rewatched Lost.
I was going to bring up Lost. I was going to bring that up. Yeah. As far as like, endings.
I've always personally liked the ending. However, watching him watch it and like thinking about how it ends as you're watching it, I'm like, I get it. I get it. Like all these crazy, like he's almost watching it for the first time because he doesn't remember.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what's the point?
Right.
What's the point of all this crazy mystery of all this like twists and turns, and
they're just
yeah. I don't know, but that's what I'm. Hearing the news on My Hero just like really, really upset me. So we have probably maybe another season or two of My Hero, I guess, to finish up, like reach the manga's ending. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll be seeing. I tell you, we're almost done with this season, and so far, like characters are great. The plot is great, and yet like the animation studio is just not doing it justice. I don't feel like when we've seen them do it justice before, yeah, it's clear that they're like kind of not. They're not putting their love into it like they were before,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they got word of how it is going to end, and they decided to like not try as hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but if I was working hard on something that I thought was going to be amazing, and then someone told me, "Hey, by the way, this is the ending," and I was like, "Are you serious?" I'd be like, "All right, well then I'm just going to pump this out and get it out of the way," So that could be what it is.
Yeah. They're not going to dump a bunch of money into something that they know is not going to be well received when they can go ahead and dump that money into something that's starting that they could make a bunch of money on.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. Like think about like, I don't know, like Naruto. Like Naruto got love from beginning to end, and it stayed strong from beginning to end.
Yeah. So much so that they didn't end it.
Yeah.
And kept going with it.
Yeah.
But no, I see. I know. I get what you're saying. Well, we're actually about out of time on here.
Yeah.
So we can just hold off on the Wicked City thing for another time.
Yeah. And the One Piece remake?
Yeah, the One Piece remake.
Okay.
Next time can be a more anime centric one.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, our conversation today was mostly about how like strong stories or weak stories can change the trajectory of an industry or
totally,
or our involvement in an industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was all relative.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely relative. It's a good one. It's fun being back.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, I think that's where we're going to end it for today. Thanks for hanging around. It's good to be back. Felt really good. It's a good conversation.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff, Linktree down in the description below. We will be posting to Spotify, Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. So head on over there and check us out. And we can't wait to see you next time. Lance, you got anything coming up?
Coming up?
Like Twitch or anything like that?
I was like, what do you mean coming up? Yes. I'm about to start getting back into streaming. I've been like
hectic to tell.
Yeah. Just work has been kind of taking over. This move has been a huge adjustment. But I have the next 3 days off, so I might be going live tomorrow, although I don't know how soon you're going to get this up. But hopefully that kind of launches me going live again soon. Yeah. I'm going to start doing video free streams where I'm not like recording or not streaming my camera, just because it helps me get motivated to get on. Because sometimes I just don't want to be on screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
So I'll be doing that again. I was doing that a little while and it was going well. So I might be jumping back into that. And also I think I'm going to be launching my online store here in the next couple of weeks, actually.
Very cool.
With all the anime stuff and the buttons and Pokemon stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, those are my plugs.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.